Hello guys, my name is Dr. Varun and you are watching Chlorophyll classes on the YouTube. Well, in today's video, we're going to be starting with another 11th class chapter, that is biological classification. Sorry, this video is coming little later than the usual on the Monday, but since due to network issues, we are not able to upload it up. So now it is getting uploaded one. So for the students, I want to let you know very clearly that you can check the posts also where we are discussing about what's the plan for the future of this channel is. We are talking and working on a lot of things together. So I want to tell you that for 11th class especially, the classes will be on the Monday and Tuesday, where 11th syllabus will be completed on time this year for sure. Okay, whereas for 12th class syllabus, it will be on Thursday and Friday every week. Okay, so go through with the schedule. For the 12th class, we are going with the genetics. Genetics will take a lot of time, but for the 11th class, we are going with Monday and Tuesday for the 11th biology syllabus for now. Okay, so don't worry, those are from 11th class student. They can refer Monday and Tuesday on this channel, and the other ones can refer on the Thursday and Friday. Let's just dive into the chapter, that is biological classification. So biological classification, here I have kept certain topics. We are doing some different type of video this time, so we're gonna be sticking with this format where a lot of write-ups are already been given up. If you don't like it, just let me know in the comment section. If you like it, let me know in the comment section, and we will proceed like this maybe in some videos, or we will go back to the where I'm writing everything also. We can go back to that also. So in today's video, we're gonna be completing what? We're gonna be seeing that what are the biological classification, basis of it, need of it, and about the first classification kingdom. Okay, let's just dive into it. So if you see about this chapter, then we have what? The biological classification. Here understand, it is what? It is an art of identifying and distributing among the organisms and placing them into the group that reflects their significant features and relationship. Means in short, what we are doing, we are classifying the organisms on the basis of where they actually stays. Okay, so this is not like something we have just done it in this. Over the period of a time, we keep on doing it, and then we come up with a more pronounced sound and better version of the classification. If someone will ask that what is the purpose of it, the purpose is that person can name the organism, remember it, and we can study about it. Like for example, as we move forward into the chapters, we will study about them, that how we have classified them and understand them, and now we are studying them. Now the next thing is types of biological classification. There are 4 types of biological classifications. So when someone is asking that how we are classifying, types of biological classification, so it is basically 4 types. Number 1 is we have a practical classification. Practical classification. Then we have your artificial classification. Artificial classification. After artificial classification, we have natural classification. And the last one is the numerical classification. Numerical classification. So these are the 4 classification which we have to go through it. So here only I am telling you about it. So if you see that the practical classification, the practical classification is what? It is based, it is the earliest classification, and it is based on the factors that how something is useful for us. Okay, so it is based on the economical importance for the human race. Okay, and when we are doing it, for example, we have oil yielding plants which like coconut, walnut, soya bean, sunflower. Then we have fiber yielding like jute and cotton, they help in the fiber formation. Then we have what? Medicinal plant like Rufolfia. Okay, this word will come again later on in the chapter, so we have to remember that Rufolfia. Then we have chenopodium, we have others like eucalyptus, neem, people, all of these are there also present. Now this classification is what? It is a method. What is the demerits of it? Okay, the demerit of this classification means, demerit means limitation of this classification was what? That one plant which is present for giving one particular feature will be used, it will be put into the different category also. Means it becomes what? It becomes contradictory. Too many times same plant name is coming up again and again. So this becomes what? A problematic. Like for example, turmeric. Okay, so turmeric has what? It work like a spices also, and it has what? Anti-inflammatory action also, means medicinal property also. Same goes with mulethi. It also has what? Medicinal and spice value to it. Okay, so these are what? Demerit. So here we will be writing what? Here we will writing that what is the demerit, demerits or limitation of this, limitation of this. So everyone have understood that these are the limitation of it. Okay, then moving on to the next one, that is artificial classification. Artificial classification, they are taking one or more morphological characters. Means morphological character means outside appearance. So morphologically means what? Outer appearance. Remember these words. Okay, so these words will come again and again. So there they are taking what? One or two of them. Okay, and this classification was the earliest one, and it was proposed by what? Linnaeus. Linnaeus is what? Carolus Linnaeus or Carl von Linnaeus. Okay, the same name for the person. Okay, so that was given by this Linnaeus, who gave what? Biological classification. If you haven't not completed the 11th class first chapter, go back and check it out on my channel. Okay, moving on, the Linnaeus, what he did, he classified on the basis of stamens. And stamens are what? Stamen is the male reproductive structure of the plant, of flower. Okay, so it classified into 24 classes. Here you have to remember certain fact that he did it in a book. The book name was Genera Plantarium. Okay, and when he classified them, they have classified into what? Those who form the sex organs and those who do not form the sex organs. So those plants which have that, they are what? Gymnosperms and angiosperms, where you will see what? Seeds and the gametes kind of things, and they have a separate structures available for it, that is phenolograms. And the another category was cryptogam. Crypto word itself means what? Hidden. So hidden gamia means hidden gamete formation structures or the sex structures. And there comes what? There comes your algae, fungi, mosses and ferns. Did you see that this artificial classification put fungi also into what? Into the plant kingdom. Later on we removed the fungi because it is what? It has a heterotrophic mode of nutrition also, which we will learn it over a period of a time. For now, just see that what we have to see that even the fungi has been put into the plants, which actually does not resembles with them in more ways. Okay, moving on to the third one, that is natural classification. The natural classification was completely based on morphological characters, means all the morphological characters were taken into account, and this classification is the best classification that is being said, because we are not talking one or two features, we are taking multiple features, and we are identifying the organisms that okay, it matches with this, it matches with that. Okay, so this is the one of the thing. This natural classification is of two types. Here you have to remember what are the two types. Number one type is that it could include the phylogeny. Phylogeny means evolution. We have studied this word phylogeny. So phylogenetic means what? Phyllo. Okay, here we will write. So phylogeny. Phylogeny means what? Evolutionary relationship or evolution. That how it came from. Okay, so on this basis we have what? Two, that is natural non-phylogenetic or natural phylogenetic. Non-phylogenetic means it is not taking evolution into account. Phylogenic means it's taking evolution into account. And when we take the evolution also account, then it becomes more better and sound kind of your classification. And once the phylogeny is taken place into the account, it is also called as what? Cladistic classification. Means natural classification has further two types, which we're gonna be on the basis of whether they are taking the phylogeny or not. So this is what? Two types. Okay, what are the two types? It could be non-phylogenetic, means evolution is not taking place, or it could be phylogenetic. And if it is the phylogenetic, then we call this what? Cladistic. Cladistic classification. Will you remember it? Okay, so these are terms that can be asked to you. Now, who gave this term phylogeny? Lamarck gave this term. Okay, so this term was given by Lamarck, and Charles Darwin expressed about the role of evolution in his thesis, the Darwin's theory of evolution. Okay, so in that he gave what? A species, origin of species book in 1859, and at that time he discussed about it extensively. Okay, about the evolutionary role in this. On that basis, we always says that the plants, the basic is thallophytes, then comes bryophytes, then pteridophytes, gymnosperms, and angiosperms, which are the most advanced one. So we have to remember this, because this way only we're gonna be that from the least advanced to the higher advanced category we will be studying in your throughout the chapters. Okay, so remember this fact that whenever you are studying in biology, then we are learning from the most primitive form to the most advanced form of the organism. Moving on, so the what are the one? Thallophytes, which are the algae, bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms, and the angiosperms. Okay, then the last classification is the phylogenetic phonetic classification or the numerical classification. Now in this, what happened? All the features are observable features which we can observe that has been put and given a particular sign or symbols or the number. And then we put this information, like for example, we found a plant, like for example, if this is the one such plant, so we said that okay, it has a long structure, so we write that it's a long structure, it is flexible, okay, it's not a rigid body, okay, this is one feature. Then a feature is that it has this color shiny skin kind of a thing, so this is one of the thing. It is easily flexible, highly flexible kind of a thing. So these are the certain features that I am telling about, and I am putting it into these features into what? Into the computers, where the codes are assigned, that 1 number code, 2 number code, 3 number code, and by that we see that which all the code category matches maximum with which already prior formed categories, and that's how we classify it. So this is what numerical classification. So if you want to see it, it is like this, that it is what? That your basis is number of similarities and dissimilarities, okay, and by using the computers we are putting all observable characteristics, okay, and we assign what? We assign numbers and codes for the characters, and the data is prepared. Once the data is prepared and processed, the organisms with maximum similarities are placed in same groups. Okay, so this is one of the way. So I hope you would have understood. Now the very important thing is that in a given classification, in this phonetic classification, what happened? Maybe one character is not given, or maybe it's not matching it up. Then we might even put what? A new taxa to it. One thing. Second thing is that all the characters here get the equal importance. It's not like that one is not important. That's why I told you that new taxa might be added because of one feature which is so distinct and making it so different. Moving on, the natural classification. Okay, it is what? More floral. Floral means reproductive, because flowers whenever coming now, remember that it's a reproductive structures and its requirement would be like that only. And in natural classification, reproductive structure, remember stamen they have taken as and put in the 24 categories, Linus. Okay, so the same thing, they give the more importance to the reproductive than the vegetative ones. Okay, means vegetative, why that is so? Because vegetative characters can easily be altered. Okay, it can have a easily influenced by the surrounding, but the floral characters remains very intact. That's why later on when we will be studying the botany, we will study about the flowers more, because flowers give right thing about that this plants belongs to what category further. Okay, so this thing you have to remember. So what we have studied about, we studied that biological classification can be done on the 4 bases. That is, practical means how they're important to us. Then we have natural classification, which was given by the Linnaeus. It was about 1 or 2 morphological characters. Normally the Linnaeus has taken the stamen. Why? Because the reproductive structures he gave more weightage compared to the vegetative structures, because they are more constant, not influenced by the environmental changes. Then comes what? Then comes our natural classification. So artificial was the Linnaeus, and then comes the natural classification. In natural classification, what is happening, beta? Natural classification will taking what? All the observable morphological characteristics. Okay, and then they put it what? They could be phylogenetical and non-phylogenetical, means either the evolution will be taken into account or not. If we see the evolution also, then we predict better. On that basis, what we have done, we have put them into thallophytes. Like thallophytes are least developed. I'm going from least to the highest developed one. This can also be asked to you in your NEET exam. So thallophytes, bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperm, and the angiosperms. Moving on to the next one, the last one is what? Phonetic or the numericals, where every characters give equal importance. Whatever the characters we can observe, we give the particular code or the number. We put it, those codes and number into the your computers, and there we see that how well it is matching to which category. Okay, and then we classify it. So this is about the classification ways. This you should know that. Moving on to the next thing, that is certain features, that how they started doing the classifications and putting into different categories. So this is what an extensive version of the taxonomy only, which we have not covered in the last chapter, but here we are covering it up. Why we are covering it now? Because it's very important, that these things should be there, because these things are not given in NCERT, but this is a part of your syllabus. And since we have seen that 2025 paper, a lot more extra things should be there. So when you go to a coaching institute, these things will be taught to you. Okay, but on Instagram and on YouTube, teachers are not actually going forward it, but we will go for it, because I assure you that quality education, everything would be at your table. Okay, so next thing comes what? That Aristotle. Okay, the first one. Now Aristotle, what we remember from the last chapter, that he is what? He is the father of zoology. He is also the father of biology, because he, the initial days when the classification and all those things were taking place, he's also working with the plants also. Like me, I am a dentist. I should be more into zoology, but I am teaching you botany also currently, right? So which means what? It's all about the interest that matters. So that's what I tell to my students also, that if you have an interest, that you can do anything. Okay, like maybe today you are going with a medicine, studying about this NEET UG aspirant, but maybe tomorrow you might become an actor, or maybe you become an engineer, maybe you become an astronaut. Anything is possible. Okay, the endless, or maybe you go to become a finance minister or anything. So anything can possible if you have an interest in it. Okay, so don't think about that thing. If you have taken this thing and your parents want you to do something, it's okay, make them feel happy. I also did it, you can also do it, but we are not talking more about it. We are considering about our syllabus. So Aristotle is what? He's known as father of zoology as well as father of biology. Okay, so in terms of animals, when we say the zoology, so animals would comes. So he classified animals on the simple basis like that, whether there is a red blood cell present or absent. Okay, so he animal classification which he gave, that was on the basis of presence of RBC. So there are two different groups of animals, RBC absent or RBC present. Like for example, if you see cockroach or insects, there is no RBC present. There is no hemoglobin kind of things present. If you see porifera, nothing is present. And there are other animals which have RBCs present. Okay, so they have divided the organisms like this. Okay, but what about the plants? So he classified plants into what? On the morphological characters, okay, growth habits into the three groups. Means either they could be smaller plants like shrubs, bigger plants like hibiscus, like herbs, or the very big plants like trees. Okay, so these are the three different varieties he give for the plants. Animals I have told you like this. With other features can also be taken there, whether they can move or not move. This category is also being given. Now comes the Theophatus. What is Theophatus? He is known as father of botany. Okay, so this thing we have to remember that he is also called as father of ancient plant taxonomy also. Okay, but father of botany, we have to remember that this can be asked to you. Then Theophatus and Aristotle was the Greek philosopher at that time, so they were thinking about same thing. Here you have to remember that the Theophatus gave a book or wrote a book where he classified the plants. So book on plants, okay, give the taxonomy, and this is called as Historia Planetarium. So a lot of books names are coming up which you have to remember it, because everyone might can ask you these questions, because earlier in PYQs these things were asked. Okay, when like 2010 or 13, before that, this is being state PMTs, it can ask. So we never know that maybe the NEET is not the thing and the state PMT comes back, then they will ask you these things. So we have to prepare ourselves for worst, so that when the easiest thing comes, you just fly with the flying colors. Moving on, then he classified the plant kingdoms into the 4 different categories. What are the 4 different Theophatus? What that? There is trees, shrubs, undershrubs, and herbs. Undershrubs are shorter shrubs in the sizes. Okay, so these are ones. Now their classification is also what? Artificial. Artificial means taking 1 or 2 characteristics of morphology. Here what? Height morphology was taken. He also said that the plants can be what? Annual, biennial, or perennial. What are they? Annual means which grows like for a year, okay, and then they die. Okay, they reproduce, produce seeds and die. So these are the annual ones, once in a life. Biennial means they flower 2 times in their life, or maybe 2 season plants. Okay, means this year also, next year also. Okay, so 2 times they will flower, they will give the seeds, and then they will die. Perennial means they stay for longer durations. They go with multiple times seed formations, and they subscribe for multiple years. Perennial plants, like your perennial plants are mangoes and all those things which survive for a longer duration of our time frame. Then comes the third person, Carolus Linnaeus, who is also known as what? Carl von Linnaeus, and he is what? He gave the binomial nomenclature. So that's why we call him what? Father of taxonomy. Whether it is plant taxonomy, animal taxonomy, because we are using his binomial nomenclatures rules. So he divided first time organisms into 2 different kingdoms, because he gave what? The systems. So he classified them into plants or animals. So this is the most important, that who gave 2 system classification? Carl Linnaeus. What are the 2 kingdoms? Plantae and Animalia. So this become an important thing. This person become an important thing. So first time 2 system classification was given by what? Carl Linnaeus. Okay, let's see it. After a certain period of time, more classifications coming up, or individual classifications coming up. Let's just see that more than 2 classifications when it comes up. Let's come up with that. In this, kingdom Plantae was further being classified into different versions. So they give what? Different divisions of it. Okay, we know that plants have what? Thallophytes, bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms, and angiosperms. Now these are what? These are division of the plant kingdoms. Plant kingdom is divided into different hierarchies further. Okay, so here the person comes what? George Bentham and Joseph Dalton Hooker. Now you have to remember that these persons which are coming up over here, these persons are what? They are the botanists, and they are working in Royal Botanical Garden, that is in London. Okay, now these scientists, they to make learning easier, they divide the plants, and when they divide the plants, they put it in their book, and the book name was what? Genera Plantarium. Okay, if you can remember, very good. If not, then also good. Just get an idea about it. Genera Plantarium. And they did what? They did a natural classification of spermatophytes. Spermatophytes are those plants that have seeds. So they have done only for the seed plants. So spermatophyte word means what? Seed producing plants. Okay, and they divide what? They put first dicotyledons. The total they have done 202 families they classify. Only this much remember. Okay, then they put it what? They put that first there would be what? There will be dicotyledons, then there will be gymnosperms and monocotyledons. So we have what? Dicotyledons, gymnosperm and monocots. This is what their order of division on the phylogeny. But if in a reality we see that this dicot and monocot is the part of angiosperms only. Okay, and he put what? He put gymnosperm in between them. But evolutionary, if we see, then gymnosperm should come first, then dicot, then monocots. Okay, so this becomes, it's what? Demerit. So here only I am writing. So demerit, which you have to remember. Demerit or limitation of this was what? Its limitation and demerit is that do not consider, or do not is not the right English, did not consider, did not considered phylogeny as gymnosperms, then comes dicot, then comes monocot, and these both are what? Beta, these are angiosperms. So means gymnosperms are primitive compared to the angiosperms. So this becomes a major problem in this. So someone will ask, like, what is the problem with Carl two kingdom classification? Now in two kingdom classification, what's the major problem was? The major problem with this classification was that unicellular organisms were not separately classified. We will learn about this later, but here only I am writing first time that one major demerit or the problem with this classification. Moving on to the next one, that is your merits of Bentham and demerits, which we have already said. So merits were what? If you want to remember that it is what? It is based on natural, means natural we always say is that it is based on what? Floral characteristics. So means it is more pronounced, more stable. Okay, so it won't change over the period of time. Okay, so this is one. Although it is not the best one, but it is based on the actual observations. So we considered it quite good and we should study about it. We can refer it when we are studying about the plants kingdom. Okay, although the phylogeny, we have already talked about it, that what is the problem with it. Then there is a person, A.W. Isham. He first time employed the phylogeny, because this is a major problem. Demerit was what? Phylogeny. So we have to fix the demerit. So this person fixed the demerit and the first time included the phylogeny in the plant kingdom. And then he divided into two, where what is the divisions? The division was based on whether the sex organs are observable or not. So these are what? They are what? We have one category called as cryptogamia, another category called pheronogamia. So cryptogamia and pheronogamia are two different categories. Okay, so these two different categories is based on what, beta? It is based on whether sex organs are visible or whether they are not visible. So crypto means itself hidden. If something is hidden means in them it will be hidden. So here there are three divisions that is present, that is thallophytes, which is algae, braphites and pteridophytes. Whereas pheranograms, where the sex organs are visible, those are what? They are the gymnosperms and the angiosperms. Always remember it. Moving on, there was another person called Oswald Tipo. He gave the biggest phylogenetic classification and it is the most acceptable ones. So this one we have to remember. Why we are learning these classifications? Because they can give you questions. In your theory-based school examination also, I have seen that CBSE paper are giving these kind of questions also there, that which of the following belongs to cryptogamia, which of the following belongs to pheranogamias. So these things we have to remember. Now this Oswald Tipo one you have to remember better. So he classified in much better way, much better understanding. So what was the classification? The classification was that he divided the plant first on the basis of whether the embryo present or not. So the thallophytes do not have embryo, rest everyone have embryo. Okay, everyone has embryo. Next, they have been classified on the basis of whether they are vascular or avascular. So what happened? There was avascular, means atracheophytes. Tracheas are what? These are the xylem elements, okay, which we will learn it later on. But you might have studied in the 9th class about xylem, and xylem has certain parts and divisions if you had. If not, no worry, we will cover this up in the upcoming chapters. Now, if there is trachea present, we call it tracheophytes. And if trachea not present, we call it atracheophytes. Like your braphites belongs to this. Rest pteridophytes, gymnosperms and angiosperms from varying degree. Varying degree means from primitive vascular bundles to a high. Vascular bundles means your xylem phloem. Okay, means whether they can conduct food or not. Okay, so primitive to the advanced version that is present. Okay, so this could be there. So here the tracheophytes, what all comes? Okay, we are gonna write it over here. Vascular bundles, we have a variant degree, and according to their least to the most advanced version, we're gonna be writing it up here. Okay, so the least is what? Pteridophytes. Then we have gymnosperms, and the most advanced is the angiosperms. Okay, so this thing we have to remember. Moving up to the next thing, that is that we have what? These are plant classifications, but other classifications were also given. Okay, what are those classifications? That I'm gonna be writing up here. Okay, so third classification is the three system classification. Three kingdom classification. What happened in three kingdom classification? In three kingdom classification, we are not writing the person who gave it, like Copeland's and other are there, but we are not writing it up. We're gonna be going with the what are the third kingdom. So what happened? All the unicellular organisms which were earlier put into the two kingdom classification, into plantae or animalia, they have been segregated out into a different kingdom that is called as kingdom Monera. So all the unicellular ones put into this. Now what is still the problem? The problem was, like, first we want to write it, that new kingdom, that is Monera, where all the unicellular microscopic organisms were grouped together. Very good, no problem, let's do it. But what happened in this, that in this classification, in this system, that there will be what? There will be a problem that the unicellular organisms have two different types of cell structure, eukaryotic as well as prokaryotic cell structure. Moreover, still also there was a problem that the kingdom fungi, which is not looking anywhere similar to the plant kingdom, were put together. How to solve it up? That's also a problem. Okay, so we went to further a better version. Okay, so here the demerits were what? So we're gonna be writing the demerits. demerits of this classification. The demerit of this classification was that prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell all were put under same kingdom. Major problem. We're going to be writing the major problem. Then comes what? To tackle this, they took out the eukaryotic of all of them and put it into what? Into a different kingdom. And here comes the 4 kingdom classification where kingdom Protista was made. Okay, so we are doing what? We are fixing it up. So comes what? 4 kingdom classification. Okay, now in 4 system classification, what happened? All the eukaryotic unicellular organisms separated from kingdom Monera. So kingdom Monera is left out with what? Prokaryotic cell. Characteristic feature of kingdom Monera, that it contains prokaryotic cell. No other kingdom will ever contain it. We will learn it, these things. Don't worry about it. The facts I remember will be in your brain super soon. Just keep on understanding the things. And these notes would be available in the group. Okay, don't worry about it. Separated from kingdom, all the eukaryotic unicellular organisms separated from the kingdom Monera were grouped together under kingdom Protista. Perfect. But now what's the problem? The problem is that certain fungi thing, which I have told you now, that the fungi was earlier put into what? Into the plant kingdoms. So they have been taken out from the plant kingdom and put it into a different kingdom altogether, and it gives what? 5 kingdom classification. And that is what our next topic that we have to study. Okay, so this is what given by R.H. Whitaker. So R.H. Whitaker did what? He taken out the organisms from kingdom Plantae and put it into a different one because they are much different. And fungi is not just called fungi, it is also called as mycota. Okay, so don't be afraid of these terms, that if fungi is not written, mycota is written, what it is. Now we have to remember this kingdom very much because it has been extensively discussed in the NCERT, as well as this system of classification is what NCERT follows, or majority of books followed. After this also other systems are there, but first let's just focus on this one for now. Okay, so first thing is what? That R.H. Whitaker proposed a 5 kingdom classifications where he took certain criteria to classify them. So what are those criteria? What are the phylums? We learn it. Sorry, what are the kingdoms? We learn it. But what are the criteria? These are the criteria which you have to remember. That what is the cell structure? How the cell is complex, how different it is complexity wise. Okay, then there is thallus organizations, means how complex the body is, whether it is a unicellular or it's a multicellular, all of those things has been taken into account. Then comes the mode of nutrition, that how they make their own food, whether they make their own food, whether they are dependent on others, whether they are dependent on dead decaying organisms, all were segregated out on that basis also further. Then what is their lifestyle or the reproductions, how they do asexual or sexual or further what, and the phylogenetic relationship meant that how closely they resembles from each other and how differently they resembles. Now here, if you remember that even our thumbnails is saying what? This classification only, that we have what? Moneras, bacteria, then we have protistas, eukaryotic cells, then we have fungi, then we have plantae, and the last and the least one is what? We have our animals, which humans comes into it. Let's just see that. I want to tell you something, and then we're gonna be seeing something also, which is this thing. Now try to understand something. Okay, what is that? That is look, so what happened that initially when the earth was formed, we will learn about this again in the evolution, but here if you understand it's much easier for you to go further. So during the evolution, what happened, beta, that your earth, initially what happened, there was cell-like structures that formed, and from there a chemosynthetic cell formed. When I'm saying that first of all, the heterotrophs forms. So there are certain cells which are heterotrophs which eat the other things. They do not have capability to make their own food. How we will remember it? Remember that when you born up, you are being fed up with the things. You can't make your food. But as we grow, first we learn how to boil water, then we learn how to make Maggie, then we learn how to make tea, then we learn how to make our snacks and the foods which mom is not allowing to buy from outside. Then we learn to make the rasam rice or dal, roti, chawal, something like that, right? Same thing over here, that the initial animals that formed or initial organisms that formed, they were unicellular, single cells, and they can't make their own food. But if someone is not there to make its own food, means outside food will eventually it will be eaten up all. Okay, so what happened? There will be development of chemotrophs and the autotrophs. Now these chemotrophs do what? They make the food from the chemicals which are present in the environment. But chemicals also have the limitations, because earth do not provide unlimited excess of the chemicals that it's making chemical. No, what are the chemicals present? This is this much only. So they realized that they can't rely on this. They had to switch to the other thing, that is what? Phototrophs, because sunlight was available all the times. So the sunlight was coming up. Sunlight leads to what? Formation of what? A phototropic organisms. Now there was what? Further they evolved into what? Eukaryotic, means their cell becomes much better. So they becomes eukaryotes protista, which further divert according to their complexity and the way of nutrition and way of living, area of living, into what? Fungi, plantae, and the animals. So if I have to write it up, these whole thing, whole story, so here I am making it up for you, that what happened? Initially certain cells were formed. They were what? Heterotrophs. These cells are what? These are the prokaryotic cell. Prokaryotic cell. Now they evolve. Why they evolve? Because there is not an unlimited source of food. So they have to make their own food. So what happened? Chemoautotrophs forms. What are chemoautotrophs? Means autotrophs means what? You might have studied in the 10th class that autotrophs are those organisms which can make their own food, like your plants. But a plant uses sunlight, so they are photoautotrophs. Photo means sunlight. Whenever the word photo comes, it means photon. Photon means sunlight for you. Okay, so what happened? Initially they are not known about that they can do this also. So they do what? Whatever the chemicals is present into the surrounding, we will learn that. Okay, so whatever the chemicals present into the surrounding, they utilized it. Okay, and they forms what? They make their own food, but they are still what? Prokaryotes. Now what happened? Further they realized that the amount of chemicals present in the surrounding is limited. Okay, since chemicals are limited in environment, they utilized what? They utilized the sunlight. So this is our sun. Okay, so sun, let me make a smile. So what happened? The sunlight is coming. They evolve. They evolve into what? They all evolve into what? They evolve into photoautotrophs. So they forms what? Photoautotrophs. One of such photoautotrophs was what? You know what? Here I am telling you, but later I will tell you again. Were what? Chloroplast. Now everyone, like chloroplast. Chloroplast was also a cell. Yes, beta, it was. We will learn it in detail for sure. So one such was chloroplast. Example, chloroplast. Now what happened? Later on, these prokaryotic cells, these were what? All prokaryotic cells. Here also prokaryotic cells. Now they see that we can form what? We can form more than this. So they evolve further into what? Eukaryotic cells. Becomes more complex over the period of a time because complexity will increase. So they becomes eukaryotic cells. What were there? Protista. Okay. Now this protista further goes, and now according to their need they forms what? They forms plantae. According to their needs they forms what? Fungi. According to their needs they forms what? Animalia, or the animals. And further the diversifications keep on happening up. Okay, so this was it. Here only, here only what happened, this table was given to you. So if we see that all the features which R.H. Whitaker took, here this table is summarizing it up. So here we have in what? Kingdom Monera, which was chemosynthetic. Here they were chemosynthetic, means they were making their own food. Okay, then they forms what? They form protista. Okay, from prokaryotes to eukaryotes. Still there over here, they were unicellular organisms. Then comes the multicellular organisms like plantae, fungi and animalia. Complexity of organisms is increasing. These are less complex, more complex organisms. First most complex is this one. Now these organisms, they were what? Plantae were what? They are autotrophs producers. Few of the protista was also there, few of the monera is also there. There were certain variants of it, they were what? Decomposers or heterotrophs, means they are not able to make their own food, they are dependent. So there are certain protista, certain monera, fungi, they go to these versions. There are certain moneras which were heterotrophs, but they were consumers. They are not decomposers in the environment. So they produced protista further. Certain lineage of protista changed into what? Animalia, like protozoas, they were there. We will talk about them in the animal kingdom. So you understood that everything comes from the basic things to more evolved form. So what is the basic? Monera, protista, fungi, plantae and animalia. So now this is the most important table in your syllabus. Okay, so in this table they are telling you what are the characteristics that R.H. Whitaker took, how they are different and how they are put forward into the categories. So there are 5 kingdoms that were what? Monera, protista, fungi, plantae and animalia. Now the cell type, whether they are prokaryotes or the eukaryote, only 2 types of cell in this whole world is present, prokaryotes and eukaryote. What are they? We will learn in the cell chapter. So prokaryotes, and these all 3 are the eukaryotes. So first question that can be formed to you, which we will do in the practice time also, that would be what? That from here, that is, which of the following has exclusive prokaryotes only? Answer to this question is Kingdom Monera. Okay, moving on to the next thing, that is cell wall. Here the cell wall is made up of non-cellulosic. What it is made up of? Here you have to remember that it is made up of peptidoglycan. This is peptidoglycan, means it is different from cellulose, has amino acids present to it, polysaccharides and amino acids. Okay, moving on, in some protista it is present, which could be made up of cellulose or a proteinaceous flexible layer present. So this you have to remember, made up of silica also. We will learn about this in protista. Fungi, it is present and it is non-cellulosic. It is what? It is made up of chitin. Okay, so you will write it that it is made up of what? Chitin. Then the next one is the plantae. It is made up of cellulose. Animal, it is absent. Question here could be what? any type of that, match the following of this. Okay, what is present? So here only I am making the question for you, because table based question can easily come. Okay, so what would be the table? They will give you like Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae and Animalia, and opposite to it they have written it cellulose, silica, peptidoglycan, absent or chitin. So what would be the answer to this question? Then Monera would be this one, Protista would be silica, fungi would be this and this. So this way question can also form, which can increase the time frame of doing the question. So we have to keep it in our mind. And the nuclear membrane is present only and only in the eukaryotic cell, because that is major division way. So this is present in all of these three, Protista, fungi, Animalia and Plantae, and it is absent over here. Okay. Moving on, body organization, they are cellular. Fungi could be multicellular, loose tissue, and there is a one exception, that is yeast, which is unicellular. We will study about it. Then there is what? Tissue organ and organ system type of way of classification, body organization. Mode of nutrition, here very important is there. So Monera is autotroph also, heterotroph also. In autotroph, they can be chemoautotrophs or photoautotrophs. Initially, I have made something like they were heterotrophs, then they become chemotrophs, autotrophs, then they become photoautotrophs. So this thing is there. Okay, don't look at my head. Okay, the hairs are growing. Just I removed my cap because it's too much of hot over here. Moving on to the next thing, then heterotrophs, they could be saprophyte or parasitic. Okay, parasitic means disease causing, saprophytic means staying or surviving on the dead decaying organisms. Then protistas, they are autotrophs or heterotrophs. If they are autotrophs, they will be photoautotrophs. Remember that. Then there comes what? Fungi, heterotrophs, and they are normally saprophytic, parasitic. Okay. Then Plantae, they are autotrophs and they are photoautotrophs. What are they? We will learn it. Don't worry. Plantaes are what? Heterotrophs, holozoics, okay, or saprophytic, depending upon different organisms. Mode of reproduction, that is conjugation, sort of sexual reproduction. We will learn it in the kingdom Monera. Don't worry. Then Protista is what? Syngamian conjugation. We will learn that. Okay, then fission and all those things are also being taken place. Means asexual reproduction is also taking place. Fungi, fertilization occur in their case. Asexual reproduction is also taking place in their cases. Then fertilization. So this you have to remember about it. Okay, so at least these 5 you have to study, because that is given in your NCRT. Okay, so we will learn it, and this is most important, mode of nutrition. Okay, so don't forget this. Mode of nutrition is important one. Then what? Then there comes even the 5 system classification is not very much acceptable, because there are certain issues with it. So what are they? The issues is that there is a further division of kingdom Monera. In Monera, there are certain bacteria which are very different, and others are collaboratively very different. So they made what? They made 3 domains of life. So means domains becomes even higher ranking compared to the kingdoms. Okay, so Carl Woos give what? 6 kingdom classification. How it makes 6 kingdoms? By giving the concept of domains. Domains is what he said, that initially there are 3 different types of organisms formed. From single organisms, 3 different organisms formed. One is archaea, other is bacteria, and the third is the eukarya. The archaea forms archaebacteria, which are very different. We will learn about that in kingdom Monera, because R.H. Whitaker one we are doing it, and R.H. Whitaker put it into what? Into kingdom into the kingdom Monera. Then bacteria are kingdom Monera, and the last is eukarya. Eukaryas form the last 4 kingdoms. What are those kingdoms? Kingdom Protista, kingdom Fungi, kingdom Plantae, and kingdom Animalia. So this thing is there. Carl Woos thing is given in NCRT, so you should remember this thing. So means now if someone has to write it, this becomes the right form of divisions, that archaebacteria are different kingdoms, Monera is different kingdoms, and then Eukarya forming the 4 different kingdoms. Okay, moving on to the next thing, that is kingdom Monera, that we have to study in detail.